Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is when you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. So today I am reminded of the importance of standards and the question of who's responsible for establishing and maintaining the highest possible standards, right? Whose duty is it to uphold standards? And I think about it within the context of Orisha lifestyle because I know that we are, by definition, an international religious community right now. We have people who are from Latin America. We have people who are from the Caribbean. We have people who are from North America. We have people who are from Europe. We have people who are from Africa. And then within Africa, we have people who are on the Yoruba side, and we have people who are on the Fon side. And they're slightly different, okay? Just like there's some similarities between the Caribbean and Latin America, there's some similarities between North America and Europe, but there are distinctions. And those distinctions have to be really understood and appreciated if we're going to have a real conversation about this very important issue, which is standards. Okay. And what are the standards? We all know that there's a need for standards. We have an appreciation for standards, but it isn't really well defined whose responsibility it is to uphold the standards. And it's even more difficult for us to define how the things that we're doing reinforce the standards. Okay, what's the strategy, in other words, for us to uphold a certain standard? Now, by my stretch, my own understanding, based on my exposure, Ifa was introduced to me as the highest standard. And when I say Ifa, I'm not talking about Orisha in general. Sometimes people in the diaspora who are saying Ifa, and what they're talking about is Isheshe, which is the Yoruba tradition. I'm talking about Ifa as Ifa, not Shango, not Obatala, not Oshun. I'm talking about Ifa, what Orunmila and his society of priests. Ifa. I was introduced to Ifa as the pinnacle. I was introduced to Ifa as the highest, most noble, most accurate body of knowledge within Yoruba civilization as a whole. And that was based upon my introduction. Again, I got introduced, like most people, through Orisha this, Orisha that. But for one reason or another, I wanted to know about Yoruba civilization. Who are the Yoruba people? So I started to study the migration myths. I started to study creation myths. I started to study all the indigenous knowledge systems, weaving, soil categorization, animal husbandry, settlement patterns, family formation, on and on and on and on and on. These are all the different disciplines from a Western perspective that I wanted to understand. Okay, how do the Yoruba describe who they are? And to my surprise, first of all, the Yoruba had done studies on themselves in every aspect of the civilization. They studied themselves at a university level, And so they found all these Yoruba scholars, sociologists, historians, scientists, etc., who had used the Western methodology to give you, an overview and a descriptive understanding of these different aspects of the civilization. And then, however, without question, without exception, every single one of these people said, however, when you want to know the authoritative word on this or this or this or this, you go to Ifa. And so every one of these Yoruba scholars had gone to some Babalawo or some group of Babalawos and sat with them and talked to them at length and gathered verses of Ifa, Oriki, etc. on their discipline. And so it was the Babalawo who ultimately informed the source, the root, the nature, the purpose of textiles, of animals, of soil, of plants, of insects, of infectious disease, of everything. Everything. And so I learned about all that before I ever put my hands on an opele or an set of ileke. Long before I did any of that, I studied the broad, picture of Yoruba civilization. And so that is when people will say to me that Ifa is the apex, I understood what they were saying. Because yes, Ifa is the apex. High standard, in other words. Now, I don't see that. The things that we're doing today make it so hard for a person to actually see Ifa. As a newcomer today, coming into the tradition, it's so difficult. We've made it so hard for people to see Ifa and understand that Ifa is the apex, because we're not talking to people about what Ifa means to Yoruba civilization. We're not making it abundantly clear that the Babalawo is the repository and the custodian of a vast body of knowledge that covers, numerous disciplines. That to be a Babalawo is to be someone whose knowledge and skill is absolutely on par with anybody, a PhD in anything. To be a Babalawo is to be at the pinnacle of knowledge, skill, and understanding. Because it's not just theoretical. The Babalawo can implement the things that Ifa is talking about in all these different areas. We're not making that clear to people. We're incentivizing people to just be cute. As long as you're cute, we'll give you those beads and we'll put you right front and center. As long as you got the look, you're something that we consider like somehow you could just be white, to be honest. As long as you're white, hey, we're going to put you right up front. We're going to parade you across the world, right? As long as you're willing to sell, and make money, 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 hey, we're going to put your name and your face as many places as you want it to be. That makes it super hard for the real, knowledge of Ifa to be abundantly clear to people. And by extension, it makes it very, very difficult for priests who are really committed to the standard to stand out and be respected. It's really, really difficult for a Babalawo who truly believes in the standard to get the respect that he deserves for the system that he upkeeps, because we are bombarding the world with the opposite for the sake of convenience, right? And so even though it does provide a short-term benefit to those individuals who are able to, put their brand out there with the pretty face or with white people or some combination thereof, in the long run, what we're doing is we're crashing the standard. We're plummeting the standard of our practice, because you're incentivizing the opposite of what Ifa is, and then you're complaining that people are misrepresenting the tradition. You're complaining that the people, in diaspora are unqualified or unprepared. But you produce these people over and over and over and over and over again, and then after you produce them, you continue to promote them and elevate them, right? And you never come back around to say that, but this is the standard. And if you don't meet that standard, then you don't cross this threshold, period. It's not easy to do. It's very tempting to, be permissive with these people. But in the long run, you are going to suffer. And then we collectively as a group, we're going to suffer as a result of over incentivizing this unacceptable behavior and these unacceptable standards of performance. And so it's not my place to tell my brothers in Nigeria what to do or how to run your affairs. I don't presume to do that by any stretch of the imagination. But I do say to my people here in the United States, particularly African Americans, that we have our own tradition of excellence. We have our own understanding of integrity, and we know what's high quality and what's not. We know what standards are. We know what excellence looks like. We know what the situation in our communities are. And so it becomes our own duty to look to one another to say, hey, you know what? I know that people may be telling you that you can have it all and all you got to do is, the bare minimum. But we both know that there's never been an instance in life where you could get it all for just the bare minimum. There's no, not even in the gangs. There's not even in the gangs, street gang. You can't just give the bare minimum. At least from my day. I don't know what the hood is like today, but I know that in my day, when someone said you had to put in work, that means you had to put in work. You had to do some heavy lifting. You couldn't just walk around with the blue rag hanging out your pocket and call yourself a Crip. You couldn't just have a little red rag tied around your head and call yourself a Blood. No, 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 no. There were consequences and repercussions. There were requirements, demands. There were standards. There were performance requirements, if you will. And then it goes all the way up in sports, in academia, in churches, in families. We know as African Americans who are the ones we respect, who are the ones that uphold the highest quality of work and performance. We need to hold ourselves to that standard, and we need to be more patient with ourselves as we seek to deepen our understanding of Odisha lifestyle, as we seek to get more and more serious about our practice. We need to look to ourselves and say, hey, you know what? I don't know who you're working with, and I don't know what they're telling you, but, that's not how we do things. We believe in excellence. We cherish high standards over convenience. Take your time. Make sure you do it right. This is a lesson for the leaders. If you're someone who's really interested in bringing about positive change, upliftment, and progress within our community through the authentic practice of Odisha lifestyle, then I want you to find out how Oloye Obafemi Origunwa and the Odisha Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice and your life to the highest level possible. Visit me at obafemio.com or odishalifestyle.com. Let's start working together to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you're destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Or double.